Hello everyone, welcome to The Green Man. Hope you're all doing good and well. So I'm starting yet another new series on The Green Man channel, and it really is about time I did some more sci-fi videos, and I'm really excited for this new series because I decided, you know what, I could try and watch my way through all of these different sci-fi TV series, many of which I've seen before, and watch them again, but I thought, you know, I just don't have the time. I don't have the time. But I thought what I could do is go back to a lot of the episodes I remember as being my favourite ones, or ones which I really loved watching when I saw them, you know, a while back. And perhaps I could recall this and sort of talk about these episodes in different videos and dedicate an episode or a video to a particular sci-fi TV episode of the past that I really loved and enjoyed. Now, growing up, I was spoilt with sci-fi TV series. I mean, when in the 90s, in my childhood, after school, I would have an absolute, you know, you would have loads of great programs on and loads of great shows. To name just maybe a few of these, you had things like the different Star Treks, the Next Generation series, you had Deep Space Nine, Voyager. I mean, there's a lot of Star Trek elitists that look down on Voyager, and I just say screw them. Voyager I thought was a great series. I just want to put that out there. I really liked Voyager. But then you had other things like, you know, you had series like that were a little bit under the radar, I guess, and maybe not remembered by so many people now, but you had stuff like Sliders, Quantum Leap. You had a series I remember called Space Precinct, and you had there's just so much stuff. You had Roswell, you had the X Files. I could go on and on and on. It was just basically I was, you know, I honestly felt spoiled growing up with sci-fi. I mean, that's why I've become a geeky kind of a sci-fi lover as I've grown up, because I just was really, a lot of these episodes had me gripped as well. But this particular episode I'm going to start with is from one of my all-time favourite TV series called Stargate SG-1. If you love your sci-fi, there's probably a good chance you really like this series because it was brilliant. You know, it had its spin-offs as well now, but Stargate SG-1 for me was where it was really at. I mean, that was where I thought you had some really fantastic, lots and lots of great episodes, and I could choose more than just this one as well for maybe later in this series. This was an episode called The Fifth Race, which is season 2, episode 15 of Stargate SG-1. And I kind of felt like this was where, you know, it felt like the Stargate universe, as I'm going to call it, was kind of expanding a little bit more. You know, it was becoming, the war with the Gould, or the fight against the Gould, was kind of getting bigger, and new races were being introduced, as with this particular episode. You can see the screen behind me actually is a scene from the episode where O'Neill has arrived at the Asgard planet, and you've got the Asgard there in the background. And I really liked the set or the design of this that they came up with. I think it was fantastic and really imaginative, and I can remember being, the first time I watched this episode, just completely locked in. And the interesting thing about this episode, right, The Fifth Race, is that it's not an action-packed episode at all. And SG-1, often my favourite ones, were pretty action-packed. This was a little bit more outward-looking, but also inward-looking at humans and their limitations. And in this case, this is O'Neill, who, on visiting a planet with SG-1, he gets all this knowledge of the ancients downloaded into his brain, and it's too much for his human brain to handle. And I really love O'Neill and Richard Dean Anderson's portrayal of O'Neill throughout the Stargate SG-1 series. I think he does it with good humour. He's kind of got this dry sense of humour. He has this tongue-in-cheek sort of style, I think, in his acting, which is really good. And I really liked the way he portrayed O'Neill. But you have great cast around him as well. And in this episode, I think it kind of demonstrates a lot of the really good acting he can do, that he can kind of also do some of the more serious side of things and show when, you know, he's in a lot of trouble, so to speak, with this problem he has, and kind of suddenly being full of all this knowledge that he has to use in some way, and it's too much for him. And I like the way the episode teases the problem with O'Neill, with him suddenly saying strange words. They could have just made it so that he just speaks the language entirely of the ancients, but it breaks through gradually in the way he's talking. So he suddenly comes up with these strange alien words. And as a viewer, you're watching this and thinking, well, where are these alien words coming from? And it's really clever the way they unravel what's happened. I mean, it's pretty obvious to us, right? You know, you can see maybe where the episode is going. There's something wrong with him. He's going to have to find out how he reach a resolution for him, and the team, the SG-1 team, are going to have to find out. And they do make an attempt, and it's quite a good scene with Sam Carter and the team on another planet. Was she Major Carter by that point? If you're an SG-1 fan, you probably tell me. And you know, they're in danger of being roasted alive by this kind of rising sun situation on the planet that they have gone to try and find information to help O'Neill. But the episode keeps going along the kind of thread of the problem with O'Neill to the end point where his subconscious, I think it is, leads him to search out the Asgard to help him resolve his problem. And when he meets the Asgard, it's a really kind of beautiful moment, and it's where you get the scene here that's on my screen. And it's just, you know, as I say, this isn't really an action episode, which is, you know, a lot of SG-1 I remember as being pretty, you know, some really great action sequences, and this one was held back a bit. But you get one of the most interesting philosophical, I think, as well, episodes of SG-1, where it's expanding the SG-1 universe a bit at the same time. And it's kind of deep and interesting what the Asgard are saying, you know, you kind of looking at humans from their point of view is kind of fascinating. It's like, you know, having that ability to look kind of inward, as the writers of SG-1 must have kind of had that sort of interesting ability to try and put themselves in like the shoes of an alien race, looking from an advanced point of view at humanity and its problems. And I think that was really cool. I mean, it's been done, I suppose sci-fi has done this a lot before, probably, you know, before the point of this episode, lots of that sort of thing has been dealt with before. But I liked the way they did this. And I think it was great performances and kind of a really nice episode. I remember I used to kind of like to watch this sometimes at Christmas. It just has a Christmassy kind of vibe in the sense that it's a nice thing to watch. It's hopeful, and it's just kind of understated. So yeah, that's my first of these favourite episodes I'm going through. We start with SG-1. Next time we will have a classic episode from Star Trek The Next Generation. Yeah, I'm going to go Trekkie next time. Otherwise, from me, everyone, hope you enjoyed this little look back on a classic SG-1 episode. If you're an SG-1 fan, did you like this episode? What episodes of SG-1 do you like? Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, from me, as always, take care everybody, and bye for now.